Now, I'm going to teach you now how to make the little details of a Trollblood, such as the little spikes these creatures have on their backs, oftentimes, and the little crest on their head. We are going to use perhaps this brush. That's a number 0 brush from Prince August, a synthetic one, but you know, it's quite good enough for the purpose. And for its spikes, we are going to use, we're going to use the same Great Coat Grey we've used on the skin earlier, here. And we're going to use some ivory. In the P3 range, ivory is Menoth white. It is the exact same color. Also, since this is a Pyre Troll, we need something a little warmer, perhaps. So we'll use this Privateer Press Bloodstone. Let me shake it a little. Let me show you. It is a brown that is a little red and still quite leathery. There. See? Bloodstone red. Well, bloodstone really. I think it's used for Scorn and Menoth. Or pretty much anything. So we're going to, yes, we're going to see that's our bloodstone red, bloodstone, sorry, ivory, and that's our grey. We're going to take, with our wet brush, a little bit of grey. I'm going to mix it in with the bloodstone here. There. That will be quite beautiful. Now, to our Pyre Troll. This is a Pyre Troll. I love it. This one has, I'm going to base coat somewhat the little stony spikes on its back. Just do them over with a mix between a mix with grey and bloodstone. I'm using a number 0 brush because mainly this is a slightly finer work base coating this than it was for than base coating the flesh. All those little rocks he has protruding out of his back. It forms some sort of a weird rocky pelt, actually. As usual when I'm base coating, this is more of a wash than anything, a thick wash that lets you see the coats and the priming underneath. There. He has little ones on his head. I think that's the trollish equivalent of hair, although I wouldn't be exactly sure because the Winter Troll, for example, from Privateer Press, does have a mane. You'll notice that I am painting this Pyre Troll in somewhat desaturated tones. Of course, the Trollblood colors are a bit desaturated. They're not exactly popping. The blue-grey isn't very vivid, not too much. It could be, but you know. but this is done on purpose on my part at least, because well, you'll see when you'll see all of those Pyre Troll tutorials put together. There he has little stony scales on his arms. I would surmise that they are the same color. I'm actually painting this knee down there. It's not very easy for you to see, I'm afraid. Basically, I'm just painting all his little stones, not those stones, all his little rocks that are protruding from his flesh, like so. And here his spine. Some people would do the spine in the same blue hue as the rest of him, but I don't know. I quite like the idea that he has a sort of a ridge on his back. As for his little crest, oh, I forgot, he has stone on his chin as well. I'm going to paint that. We sure have to. And then his crest and that sort of I guess that's the Trollblood equivalent of hair. Yes. An interesting creature, the Trollblood. Here I'm using almost pure bloodstone to paint this crest because I think it should be a little more vivid, a little less subdued than the rest. There. Oh dear. Here I've made a slight mistake here. Well, never mind. Correct it there a little. Just a little bit of the brownish hue. There. All better now. Now we're going to shade those little scales with Greatcoat Grey, the same grey we used to shade the skin. That means it will be nicely blended in if we can avoid putting too much of the grey in, of course. Using the same brush basically. I'm washing away with the Greatcoat Grey in all the parts that are underneath there, and wherever it seems important that there is little grey for shading. This is a thin wash. I think the skin here needs a little touching up, so I will do that in the skin highlight color right there. so it's not too noticeable. Oh dear, still a bit too much water here. There. Okay, we're done. So more great coat grey for the shading in here, under here. I believe I should have painted those nails as well in the bloodstone color, but never mind that, because we're going to paint something else after that for that Pyre Troll. There. Going to need a little grey here on the side of this crest. Bit more grey here, just to blend it in with the rest of the skin, so to speak. Here. And here as well, because this needed to be a little shaded and a little blended. Let's have more of that grey everywhere here on foot. It's kind of important that it's shaded. And here on that one as well. Here underneath there. Pretty much everywhere where there are those little stones. Now we'll use a little blue, a little of the Trollblood base here to correct with a wash, thin wash once again, to meld it, to blend it in somewhat, and to correct any mistakes we might have made while painting the stones. Not too many mistakes, I see. That's pretty much all right. Little grey here, perhaps. Less water, a little more paint. Grey, yes. It's perfect. That's beautiful. Good. Now to highlight those stones, I'm going to need some bloodstone. And I'm going to paint some of the edges of the stones, not all of them. Like so, just on top. Sort of a brush. I think we'll have, yes, I think I'll use a slightly bigger brush to get it over with a little quicker. Just a number 1 brush. Just passing on the edges here. Just a quick pass. It isn't over. It isn't over by a long shot. Just doing that on the edges so as to make them pop a little more. And then again just on the top edges. Perhaps a little more shading here on this in the thigh. Sorry if I keep coming back to shading, but it is somewhat important. There, you see that's the start of a good rocky outcrop. Now we're going to mix bloodstone and ivory so as to manage to highlight the whole thing. There, you see, with that kind of color. There. Take a little bit on to the brush, and since we want that stony effect, just going to almost dry, yes, it is a dry brush as a matter of fact. As we are in fact looking for that dusty sort of a, yes, dusty effect, really, stony effect that the dry brush can bring to a miniature. We are slightly dry brushing here. Dry brushing is not to be sniffed at. In many cases, it is a very quick way to obtain good results. There, we're done with the dry brushing, because no one should abuse that sort of method. And now we're taking the highlighting color, same color really, and doing the little finer points. Because dry brushing is all well and good for the big stuff, but when it comes to the small little stones here, nothing really beats a fine brush and a wash, and a glaze, sorry. I will also detail that dry brushing we did a little here, as some of the details weren't exactly standing out. See, it's all a matter of patience. You just go around those little stony scales and just, it's just about the fine-tuning, really, so to speak. There. I'm sorry, I was doing this area. I needed a closer look. This may sound tedious, but it's very quickly done, and we've done pretty much the majority of the work with the dry brush, so it's all pretty much done for us. And if you find something that's amiss or a bit too rough, you can always grab a little more of the bloodstone color and wash in between the horns, in between the stones, to accentuate the creases a little, such as what I'm doing right now. with a little more of the highlighting mix. There. And now perhaps I will blend it with the skin on the side here. It needs a little blending here on his neck. A little grey perhaps, yes. Just a tad. It's all about arriving to a richer color. So there. This grey is good for getting the miniature to be homogeneous. I should think. So there. Beautiful. Isn't this nice? Now we'll keep on highlighting certain parts with the ivory mix, the ivory and bloodstone mix. Doing the foot here. And that knee. Yeah, but that's in the shadows, so that's kind of okay. If it's not too well lit, that's all right. Little stones here. Well, perhaps a little more light on this foot. There we go. Now, this is a Pyre Troll. But let's not forget the Pyre Troll has blood. I'm going to grab a little purple. This is royal purple or imperial purple, I don't know, from Vallejo. I will show you what color it is. I'm sorry. This. Isn't this lovely? I'm going to grab a very fine brush, such as a 3-0 brush, and going to do itty bitty washes of that purple color in strategic places. Look here around the eyes. It will warm the skin up a little, as if there were red blood underneath. You see? I'm going to do a little bit more purple here and here around the neck. It will be a lot more vivid, you know, this will be grand. It's maybe a little too much purple, but never mind that. This is really enriching the tones, enriching the color. Here around Trollblood's jaw. Here, this is very interesting. Perhaps here near his knuckles. That's where a human's hands would be a little red, you see? Well, a Trollblood's hands might be a little purple. I should think. Here, the elbow a bit. This is just a thin wash. It blends in quite well with the rest. I think I should put some purple here to differentiate the muscles a bit. Perhaps underneath here. This is too much purple, so I'll wash it in water, and there. Here underneath that muscle. Yeah, that needs a little of this purplish hue. This is very subtle. Can't see a lot of it on camera, but on the elbow. This is good for monsters and for all sorts of creatures. A little purple here and there on a green or blue skin. Here I'm dealing with this muscle here. Purplish is interesting, as it always gives such a lovely hue. I think I'll still get a little grey here, a little of the greatcoat grey here to mix in with the purple, because it's too purple. There, that's done pretty much. Now grab some more of the purple, and here underneath the arms, underneath the these little armpits. Yes, this is a wash that blends very well with the rest of it. People usually don't dare enriching their colors with such bold washes of purple and red and whatnot. I say experiment. I think that needs purple as well. I think the buttocks here need a little purple, and here in the back of the legs. And because there are veins going through here, and that's where on a human you would obtain by friction a reddish hue, perhaps. There. That's it. You don't need any more. Don't overdo it. Don't do it in every crease. I mean, that would be overkill. But still, a little color enriching never killed anyone. There. Yeah. Done. That's how you do the Trollblood skin. After that, it's just detailing on the face and that sort of thing, really.